So the 49ers are a team. They're one of those teams that gets to the game, gets to the conference championship, and you know what? In 20 years, they'll have a reunion over getting to 3 championships in 4 years.
You're a hater. You are bitter.
Oh, I am. Oh, I am.
You are bitter.
Because I just, I really hate the way this
you
team
stop right
is
there. You hate. You can just stop right there.
I know. I hate. Dot.
If I knew what I was going to fucking do, I'd have already done it. Okay? I'm taking it a day at a time.
I sense you're antagonized by the question.
People right now are like, Tom Brady, your slip is showing? No. He was like, Michael Holley, I got a little message. I'm going to send it through Jim Gray. Jim Gray took a stray.
I turned down the Jackson State job to come here, Roland Martin. Jackson State called me. Deion Sanders called me himself, man.
He lacks the temperament, the discipline, the focus, and the communication skills. Bethune-Cookman had every right and reason to fire Ed Reed.
With the Eagles, tell me somebody who is impactful but is not getting the credit from the national media where you all know locally, oh man, they're missing it.
That's easy. Hassan Reddick.
The Kyle Shanahan love is out of control. The Brock Purdy thing is out of control. And I'm so against it, I don't want to deal with the 49ers and the Shanahan sycophants in the Super Bowl.
Were you like this in 2001 when Bill Belichick and Tom Brady was doing this?
Well, but they weren't getting that love either. No, I wasn't. I was making money off of it.
Yes, you were. Thank you.
Yeah, I tried to a couple times in the game where I was trying to get through spots that I usually could get through, and you could see that I didn't have that burst that I usually have. So I got the ball in my hands quickly. I think you saw that. And I threw probably a few more checkdowns than I usually would throw, and relied on my teammates to make the plays happen, and that's what they did. I think y'all saw it. I said the stopping was going to be the hardest part, and obviously throwing across your body, you have to plant that right leg and twist across it to throw. So that definitely didn't feel good. I think the worst one was when I fumbled. I try to pick it up, and that was probably the worst tweak that I had during the game. But like I said, they got me close as they could to 100%, and then I just battled through, and I'll have a few more weeks to get it ready.
We know the kind of team that they have, the kind of quarterback that they have, and the kind of coaches that they have. And we expect to be back there, and I think they do too. That's the great thing about the NFL. It's not college where you only got 4 years. You got as many years as you want to, hopefully. So we'll come back, have a great offseason, and get better as a team, get better individually, and come back next year ready to go.
We live in the time of Joe Burrow, he says. This is Joe Burrow's conference, he says. This is Joe Burrow's league. Dumbass.
Well, no, it wasn't a dumbass. No. There's some other stuff you said was some dumbass stuff, like Brock Purdy is Tom Brady. We'll get to that.
I didn't say he was Tom Brady. I didn't say that.
No,
that's how
it changes. It changes. I know, that's how it changes.
Exactly.
After a while.
Exactly.
It's close enough. It's close enough. So, you know what? Why not just go ahead and take that distinction away, take that nuance out of it. But no,
I just get carried away sometimes.
The Kansas City, but no, man. The Kansas City Chiefs won again. Give them credit. Give them credit. Back to the Super Bowl, third Super Bowl for Patrick Mahomes. They won a game in which Butker, their kicker, made a 45-yard field goal after he got an extra 15 yards because there was a roughing penalty on a linebacker. It came down to, it could have gone to overtime. Right. And this was a closely contested. This was no like, oh, wow. Oh, yes, clearly Kansas City is so much better than Cincinnati. No, nobody's saying that today. Right. If they are, they probably are in Kansas or Missouri. Kansas City, Kansas, or Kansas City, Missouri. But other than that, like we all saw it.
I managed to underrate the best player in the NFL, the best quarterback in the NFL.
Okay. Well, when you say it that way, yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't call Arrowhead Stadium Burrowhead. I didn't go that far. You know what I mean? I didn't disrespect him that much. But I mean, look, the Bengals had a winning streak going against Kansas City. I've been on Joe Burrow from Jump Street. You know that. But this dude's a legend. Patrick Mahomes is a legend in his own time. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
he's been a Hall of Famer for several years now, and he's only adding to his legend and his legacy with each legendary performance. I feel like I nailed it a couple of years ago with the Stevie Wonder, Prince, LeBron, Michael Jordan comparison. This is Magic and Bird, man. This is what our friend and colleague Jackie McMullen. When the game was ours, the game is theirs.
The game was
not the
when
AFC
the game was
is
ours.
Not,
yep.
The AFC is not his, as in Joe Burrows. The league is not his. This moment in time is not his. It's theirs. I do see these guys going back and forth. It reminds me of 80s Lakers Celtics. Provided there's a lot of free agents in Cincinnati. Kansas City has mastered the art of turning over their roster already, sometimes ahead of time. Provided the Bengals can stay together, I do see these guys competing for AFC supremacy for some time, and they'll win some and they'll lose some each, and they'll check the box score in the newspaper to see what the other one did, you know, like Magic and Bird used to do back in the day. You know,
box score. What is that?
I could watch. Honestly, I texted you last night and I just said I could watch these dudes play all day. I wish they could play a best of 7. These two guys are incredible. You're right. It could have gone either way. It was going to come down to who had the ball last. I wish we'd have gotten to see the new overtime rules in action for the first time.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like Patrick Mahomes, he's just that dude. And it's like Joe Burrow's that dude too. There's no wrong answer there. It's just going to be a matter of whose day it is or whose night it is. And last night was Patrick Mahomes' night. He deserves all the accolades, all the praise, all the credit. He's probably going to be the MVP. We'll see if he's the first MVP to win a Super Bowl since Kurt Warner in '99 for some reason. You know, those guys don't go on to win Super Bowls. Maybe it's because they have to be so valuable that their teams are flawed and they're overcoming those flaws. Who knows? But, man, he was incredible last night.
Okay, that pass right there, that's unfair. Okay, what?
I said on one.
That's just
I
unfair.
said last week. Well, he's unfair. I said last week on one leg, you still got a leg up as long as he's your quarterback.
And I thought you were going to, when you start off talking about Patrick Mahomes, I thought you were going to give us that thought line. Remember that great thought line? But, you know, I kind of remixed it to make it for Patrick Mahomes. Thought said it about himself, but I took it and applied it to Mahomes. I'm so ahead of my time, I'm counterclockwise. And that's really what Patrick Mahomes is. Like, I have never, let me just start right here. Before we get to the results of the game and great throws and great plays and controversies, I've never seen anyone at the quarterback spot play like this on a high ankle sprain. Now, I do want to point out that Jerry Rice,
play like this in any sport?
Well, Jerry Rice, when they won that second Super Bowl, he had a high ankle sprain. I think he had 11 catches in that game against the Bengals.
The 11 for 215, stretch it out over the pylon game, he had a high ankle sprain? Why don't I remember that detail? Really?
Yep.
Wow.
And so
I don't remember hearing that. Wow.
Yeah. I didn't know that until
stretch it out over the pylon going out of bounds.
Now, I didn't know that until we got to check it out. Now, you know my source on this is Jerry Rice. Now Rice.
Wait, did he just reveal this?
He revealed this it was years ago. It was probably like about 5 to 8 years ago. I was interviewing him, and he mentioned it because he was making a comparison to Gronk. Because it was longer than that. Remember, it was the Patriots-Giants Super Bowl, the second one. Gronk in the AFC Championship game, took a hit. Bernard Pollard, of course he did, went low, and so Pollard really made Gronk compromise in that game. And Rice said, hey, I played with a high ankle sprain in the Super Bowl against the Cincinnati Bengals. And, this is what I did.
And, of course, T.O. played on a broken leg. I mean, who could forget that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it came back.
Yeah, but typically, high ankle sprain, you're compromised.
We're able to name them. We need one hand to name them all. So it was an amazing job from Patrick Mahomes. I didn't underestimate his competitiveness and his greatness. I underestimated his ability to either heal. He said after the game, God healed him. God's ability to heal Patrick Mahomes in time for the AFC Championship game, and I didn't think he would look the way he looked. You could tell he wasn't the same, but damn, Mike.
But
some of the throws he was able to make.
Well, but
he shouldn't be able to do that.
He's so gifted. He's such a. It's almost like, man. Now this is not what you're saying, but I hear what you're saying. But if I could stay with my Magic and Bird comparison, it's almost like saying, damn, I thought Larry Bird was just a 3-point shooter. Or damn, I didn't know Magic could make basic passes. I would have thought Magic threw no-look passes. Like, we so used to seeing Patrick Mahomes throw no-look passes until his ability to process defenses, to make decisions from the pocket, to do the basic foundational things of playing quarterback. Sometimes he's underrated by all the incredible things that he does. So since he wasn't able to do the incredible stuff, he was like, you know what, I'll just keep it simple. I'll take the check downs. I'll just use my howitzer for an arm and make incredible throws. But when I have to, when I need it, I'm going to dig down and I'm going to take off and run. I love your flu game comparison there with MJ. About that play, and you text me when it happened. Mike, I didn't like it in real time, and I definitely didn't like it in replay.
Really? I don't know, Mike. Okay, let's get to it.
Let's get to it. I didn't think that was unnecessary roughness. I think, now, listen, if I get the rule wrong, I beg your pardon, okay? But once they become a runner, they're not afforded quarterback protection. First of all, we'll get to the fallout from it. I'm just thankful that Joseph Ossai is okay, because I thought he was done for when I saw his left leg bend at that angle, his right leg, excuse me, bend at that angle. I'm just glad he's physically okay. We'll talk about the fallout from it in the Bengals locker room in a second. But I didn't think in real time that should have been a flag. I thought that it was a flag. I thought it was a flag because of the quarterback. Like, they're running full speed. Like, he's trying to, dude, like, it wasn't egregious to me.
Okay,
now, the replay shows that he was out. The replay shows that he was out of bounds and he's getting pushed. But like in real time, I'm like, and in the replay, I could see why he still made contact with him. I don't blame Joseph Ossai for hustling and trying to get to him. And he barely touched him. It wasn't unnecessary. It wasn't rough at all. Put it this way. It wasn't rough. Unnecessary roughness? No, it was unnecessary maybe brushing up against him lightly. But if it's not Patrick Mahomes, I don't know that they throw that flag. And I'm not conspiracy brother. But if it's not Mahomes, I don't know if they throw that flag. That to me was football. That was football. That was high-speed football.
It's not football.
I did not like that play at all. I did not like that call. That's not why they lost the game, but I didn't like that call.
I didn't like the play because of what it meant. I understood the call. And as I look at the replay over and over,
where were the LeBron refs when you needed them? Where are the LeBron refs that don't call nothing?
Exactly. It's the right call. It's the right call. We'll talk about him later. Hey, it is the right call, Mike. And you know what? And I hate to say it because I just feel for the brother Ossai. You know, he's really working hard. Young guy. He dealt with some adversity early in his career. Missed his rookie year because of an injury and all this stuff. So now, you know, a young player who's starting to flash. My problem with it is his lack. I hate to say it because he blew the game. I mean, his lack of awareness. His lack of awareness in two situations. Now we run that back one more time, Gary. You'll see what I'm talking about. One, the one that we're all talking about is Patrick Mahomes is clearly out of bounds. So it's a lack of awareness of where he was on the field. But watch it. But watch this. Watch this. Okay, who else is there? There's Patrick Mahomes, Ossai. Look what Mike Hilton does. Mike Hilton is like, oh, man. Mike Hilton ain't trying to. You ain't there by yourself is what I'm saying, young fella. If Patrick Mahomes can still keep going, right. So what does that tell you? Mike Hilton stopped. Mike Hilton ain't trying to jack him up. So look at the quarterback, look at your teammate. They've stopped. The play's over. I feel so bad for him, but you gotta call that because it was roughing. It was. Unfortunately, I wanted to see what Kansas City would have done with 8 seconds to play?
Yeah.
Would they bring out?
Look.
Would they bring out Butker for a 60-yard field goal attempt? I don't know.
Which he could have made.
Unlikely.
Look, the more I look
No, he couldn't have.
Look, the
No,
more
he couldn't have.
Look, if you got to call, was it a foul by the letter of the law? Yes. Officials always talk about, y'all don't understand the speed of the game. Y'all don't understand how fast this game moves, okay?
Right.
This dude's running 100 miles an hour hustling. And not to make excuses for him, because ultimately, yes, there should be a level of awareness. But even Jermaine Pratt, why are you touching the quarterback? The fact that he's a quarterback shouldn't matter. It's like he's a runner in that situation is my point. He's a runner, and he's trying to make that. That's such a gruesome shot of his leg. I can't believe that wasn't an awful injury. Thank God.
Yeah.
He's a runner in that situation. He's hustling. I have seen unnecessary roughness. We have seen late hits out of bounds. He was a foot. He was out of bounds. But I'm sorry. You can show me all the still shots. You can show me all the pictures, all the replays you want. In that moment, that did not look egregious to me. I would not have thrown a flag in that situation if I were an official. Now, officials.
I was hopeful that it wasn't coming, but I thought it was. I wasn't surprised when the flag came out. When I saw it, I said, "Ooh, did that just happen? Oh, did he just do that? Oh, I hope they don't call it." They called it.
Now, Ossai.
I didn't want them to call it, but I thought they probably should. Now, there's some other calls in that game where you look at it from a Bengals perspective, and I saw that New York Post headline.
Yeah, like doing an entire play over?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Down go
if I'm
over?
a Bengals fan,
Doug, I ain't heard down go over. I ain't heard down go over since touch football. Remember down go over?
Street ball, right. Yeah, that's right.
Remember no early, no half? No early, no half, and down go over.
Right.
Which touch football language, okay? But speaking of touching, Ossai, there's video of him and his frustration as the Bengals enter the locker room. So let's hear, not Ossai, I'm sorry, Jermaine Pratt. Let's hear from Jermaine Pratt and then hear from Ossai facing the music in the locker room.
Oh, not good. This is my last year. Why do you cut the quarterback?
Dumb question. Come on. He played his butt off the whole game. That's a different question.
Things are happening so fast there, obviously. Did you have any idea you were at that sideline there? I mean, obviously you're in full chase and, you know.
Yeah, I was just in full chase mode, and I was trying to push him to maybe get him going backwards, because I knew he was going for that sideline. I was trying to make him go backwards, get that clock running, but I didn't know. I haven't seen it yet. I didn't know how far out of bounds we were, but yeah.
How hard is that to kind of not put all that weight on you as you go through this? I mean, it's just...
It's extremely hard, man. Come on, man.
I'm sure it's tough. That's why I asked him about it.
That's a really question, bro. Come on.
The support you're getting, is that a sign of kind of the culture that feeds this team?
For sure, absolutely. We're one big family. It's not fake, you know. When the going gets tough, start pointing fingers, we lift each other up, and I'm just happy I got these group of guys around me supporting me right now, because it's hard.
It's not the officials. Now, just to be clear, it's not the officials' job to give somebody the benefit of the doubt. I thought it was just really close, but I'm done explaining that. As for the reaction, I don't even blame Jermaine Pratt. I'm not blaming anybody. I understand Jermaine Pratt's frustration in that moment. Like, I don't think he was being a bad teammate. And I saw, his comment on the social media post. I don't think he was being a bad teammate for being frustrated at a teammate's, as you put it, Michael, lack of awareness in that situation. That wasn't the single thing that cost him that game, no, but it clinched it. It made it a much easier field goal for Harrison Butker. So in that moment, I mean, you had an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. And listen, if Jermaine Pratt would have been the guilty party, he would have been asking himself the same question. He would have been saying, why'd you touch the quarterback? Which again, the quarterback shouldn't have anything to do with it. But like, why'd you touch the quarterback? He'd have been beating himself up. So I think we talk about accountability, holding one another accountable. I think far too often when in a team sport or environment, a corporate environment, a professional environment, when somebody lets somebody else down or is letting the group down, we shouldn't have to like walk on eggshells of people's feelings. It should be like, you know what, man? We got to be able to call one another out. Like nobody's harder on himself right now, last night or right now, than Joseph Ossai. That doesn't mean that. Okay. But that doesn't mean that Jermaine Pratt can't be frustrated because just
you
like
can be frustrated,
Joseph Ossai,
Jermaine. Hey, man.
You think he went out of bounds? You think he was out of bounds?
Yeah.
Pun intended?
Hey.
He was out of bounds?
Hey, listen. He was out of bounds. He was out
Unnecessary
of bounds.
roughness?
Okay, I have awareness on this, Jermaine, okay? I got awareness on this one. I know what I did now. I don't need you, of all people, anybody, I don't need you coming in right now. Come on, hold me accountable. We can talk about it later. But you got to understand, everybody, the whole world is watching me. What are the ratings on this game? Off the charts. Millions and millions of people watching. Millions of people feeling like I do. I'm not a Bengals fan. I felt bad about this last night. I'm not even joking. I felt bad about it this morning. I was like, damn. Ooh, why did that game have to end like that? Why did it have to come down to this? I felt bad for the player. So then you having all these emotions, all these thoughts. We're not going to Arizona now.
They're walking in the locker room. They walking in the locker room.
And we're looking. And there are cameras.
He said
what
everybody else was probably thinking. They walking in the locker room. Okay, let everybody else think it.
How about this, Mike? Can I say this? Sarah, everybody else is thinking it. But why don't you just shut up? Okay?
Michael,
I don't want to hear it right now.
Let me try this. If I said something right now that compromised, like in the heat of the moment, in a moment of passion, all right, we talking, and if I said something right now that compromised our ability to do this show, and therefore both of our livelihoods, but you know I didn't mean it, and you know that I was playing hard, that I was in the moment, and I was talking, and we were debating or whatever, and I said something that cast a negative light on me, you, and this program and NBC and Peacock, right? Mm-hmm. You would be well within your rights to say, damn it, Michael. Come on, man. You got to control yourself. You got to know better. You would be, even though I would be beating myself up, I would have put all of us in a bad position. So in the moment, I know that you're not trying to pile on me. You're not trying to embarrass me. You're not telling me anything I don't already know. You're just frustrated. That's not okay.
I don't know Pratt's relationship with Ossai, so I don't know that. I feel like with me, if I say something to you, you know it's coming from a good place. You know that. Think back to Tahoe.
That's why I will never go back.
Anyway, hey y'all, inside joke.
That's part of the reason why I won't go back.
But I helped the brother out. That's all I'm saying. But what I would say, I might be well within my right, but I would say, Mike, you don't want to do that, Mike. You don't want to do that. We don't do that. I'm not going to just jump on you. And there are a lot of athletes who are not going to do.
He didn't berate him. He just was expressing frustration. I'm sorry. There's a theme for me. I saw a player hustling.
Just wait for a second.
And Patrick Mahomes was barely out of bounds. But okay, fine. You want to throw the flag?
Barely out of bounds.
They were on the doorstep of the Super Bowl. They were on the doorstep of the Super Bowl. They were on the doorstep of the Super Bowl. And my man was frustrated because, as you said, a play that everybody should have known. It was obvious. Got to have more awareness. You shouldn't have done it. Maybe cost him an opportunity.
I'll give you this.
I don't blame either one of them.
They're human beings. I'm gonna say this real quick.
Yes.
At least the Bengals were on the doorstep of the Super Bowl and talked about it afterwards. Could somebody wake up the 49ers and let them know they lost by 24 points?
I thought that was coming earlier. When you said, "Hey man, it wasn't like they got blown out. It was this game. The Chiefs Bengals could have gone either way." When you said that, I thought you were gonna say, "Like 49ers Eagles."
It's a long show. We got time. I'll get there.
I was like, wait, he ain't said nothing about that game yet?
We'll get there.
Said a little bit ago, they probably never wanted to draft me here. Did you mean the front office, the fans? Explain that.
I know, there was a big surprise to many. But my favorite verse, you know, I went through a lot of stuff in college, and it kind of stuck with me. John 13:7. You may not know now, but later you'll understand. Hopefully, people understand.
Charles Robinson
right.
from Yahoo
Right.
Sports. You pod to win the game. Kind enough. You got me, Charles? We got you?
Yeah, you got me.
Okay. Kind enough to join us from New Orleans. He's on the road for the Super Bowl. So en route to Mobile, my man made some time to join Brother from Another. That's brotherly love right there. Speaking of brotherly love, yeah, Mike, you know, let's say I had a bad weekend on the prediction front.
Wow, what happened?
I mean,
what happened? That San Francisco game?
I'm not even gonna make excuses.
No excuses? Thank you.
I'm not. No, I'm not, because like the other quarterback must go down. He must go down hard. Like, you knock out the other quarterback. Shout out to Ossai Reddick. That's his job, is to punish the other quarterback and get the Niners to play with their fourth quarterback. Okay, the Eagles are a complete team. I mean, they have and they built, and Charles, they're built in the old school fashion. They have a dominant offensive line and a dominant defensive line. That's to say nothing of their skill position and the rest of the perimeter players, and obviously their quarterback. But they are so good up front on both sides of the ball. They're the best team in the league this year for a reason. Your thoughts on that game and your early thoughts on the Super Bowl matchup?
I think we got robbed. I think it could have been a great game. Unfortunately, you know, we watched Brock Purdy suffer that injury early in the first. No. Listen, Charles. George Kittle straight up said it. He was like, look, when we got to the point where we didn't have a quarterback who could throw the ball.
He said it.
He said we had Michael. He said we had 15 plays. 15 plays in the playbook. Now, that's 15 total plays. That doesn't mean situationally. Situationally, now, because you don't have a quarterback who can throw, you might have two on any given play. It was over. It was done. It was over. The second,
kind of hard to play without a quarterback.
Yes. The second Purdy went down, with all due respect to Josh Johnson, I was like, there's going to be slippage. Just watch. It was 7-7. You know, McCaffrey had that crazy run for the touchdown, but I was like, just give it enough time. The Eagles are going to wear this down, and then mistakes will start to happen. It doesn't. I'm not saying that San Francisco would have won this game. I'm not saying that Brock Purdy would have balled out, and you know, we would have been looking at San Francisco Super Bowl. But
they would have got curb stomped.
We would have had a better game. Okay,
they wouldn't have got curb stomped. Like he made a difference. Michael don't think.
Stop it.
Michael thinks Brock Purdy was just along for the ride anyway. Charles, Michael doesn't think there's much of a difference between Brock Purdy and Josh Johnson. That's the problem. He thinks Brock Purdy and Josh Johnson are the same person.
Yeah. I do. I'm so tired. Like, and you know, I got robbed. Okay, you think the San Francisco thinks it got robbed because Brock Purdy went out of the game? I got robbed because I wanted to see the beatdown so the excuses wouldn't happen after the game. But here it is. I knew I was going to have to deal with this.
Neither one of us are making excuses.
Oh, yes, you are. Yes, you are.
There they go.
You know, and George Kittle. It's a shame. It's a shame we have to lose our quarterback. It's a shame this happened. San Francisco, is there something about Bay Area football? Like the Raiders used to do this under Al Davis. Raiders used to do this. Oh, the Tuck rule. Oh, this. Oh, the league is against me. It's because I sued the league. That's why I'm not getting the benefit of the doubt. Now, San Francisco, if we had Jimmy Garoppolo, if we had Trey Lance, if we had Steve Young, if we had Joe Montana, sit your ass down. Go back to San Francisco.
Charles, did you not clearly say, I'm not saying San Francisco would have won. It would have just been a better game. That's all you said, right, Charles?
All
it wouldn't have been a better game.
We got robbed.
This game was
robbed of a good game. That's it.
We
got robbed of it. It's bizarre.
We got robbed of a good game when the Niners got on the flight.
It's bizarre.
When the Niners got on the flight to go to Philadelphia.
It's bizarre.
When the Niners got on the flight, it was going to be a bad game for them.
Someone could cover football for so long, write books about a franchise that had the most significant dynasty of our lifetime, and yet sit there and go, yeah, you know, I know that guy suffered an elbow injury. Maybe he's done for a year. Maybe that guy needs Tommy John surgery. And yeah, they were down to their fourth quarterback. And yeah, then they were down to just the running back who had plays strapped to his arm. But I mean, that doesn't matter. I mean, come on, man. What are you even talking
matters.
about?
It matters. It matters, Charles. But come on, man. Philadelphia was the best team in football all year long. They were the best team in football
24
all
points
year.
better than San Francisco. They're not 24 points better than San Francisco. No.
I don't know that.
Man.
I don't know
exactly.
that. I know it.
We'll never know. And we'll never know because the quarterback got knocked
Eagles
out.
Fly.
Look,
I'm so glad
I
they
got a
lost.
gift for you.
I don't care. Thank you.
I'll give this to you in Arizona. This for you. I'll give this to you in Arizona.
I'm gonna rock it all week. All week.
So Charles,
unless Ted Cruz wants to give me some.
I have never heard
some Kansas City swag.
I've never heard somebody gloat so much when a team literally was like, "Hey, you know what? They can't do anything to run the ball. Let's go ahead and rotate in 6 defensive linemen, knowing that they can't do it for an entire half." And look, the Eagles are. I mean, they're bad as hell. Like, look, they're number 1 seed for a reason. Like, this is going to be a great Super Bowl.
Right.
It's going to be amazing. But you cannot sit there and say that game was reflective of what it would have been if the 49ers had a full suite of offense. What are we talking about, man?
Here's the great thing.
It's
Here's the great thing,
bias.
Charles.
It's confirmation bias.
I was going to say,
Charles,
it's just
the great thing, Charles.
Turned out to be right. He turned out to be right thanks to a catastrophic injury, and now he's like, "I told you they were gonna beat the shit out of him. I told you they would have been."
See, that's the funny thing, Charles. You're such a respected journalist. Michigan State is proud of you. Michigan is proud of you. So you're going by logic. So when you say, you can't sit there and say San Francisco is 24 points worse than Philadelphia, except I can.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. I mean, look, it's your
because
show.
That's what happens.
Say whatever you
want.
want.
This is no. It ain't about me. It's what the scoreboard says.
Scoreboard.
Hey, 31-7. I don't know. Yeah. Hey, listen. What? I ain't watched the game. What happened? 31-7. Oh, okay. That must be it.
But in all seriousness, that's not Philly's fault. Philly is taking nothing away from Philly. Give them all the credit in the world.
Exactly.
Like that's the game. It happens. Now, Charles, spinning it forward for San Francisco. We certainly got all week and all next week to talk more about the matchup. But I had taken the liberty of anointing Brock Purdy as the 49ers' new franchise quarterback after start number 1. I think you were with us the day after. Now he's, like you said, he may need surgery on his elbow. I don't know if you know what the latest is there. I know they would test on that nerve ligament. Nothing yet? Okay. What do the 49ers do at quarterback? Because a lot of people are still trying to put Tom Brady in San Francisco, and I'm like, nah, this is Brock Purdy's team. But is Brock Purdy going to be available? What do they do with Trey Lance? So on and so forth.
First thing you have to answer what's going on with Purdy. So they're getting the MRI done. We're going to know today. I mean, we've never seen a quarterback get Tommy John surgery. We don't know what this ligament damage potentially could look like. When a guy says, basically, I can't grip the ball, I can't throw 5 yards, it's probably indicative of something being pretty bad. Now, let's wait and see. If it's the kind of injury where he's potentially jeopardized for the 2023 season, okay, I think let's wait and see now how this all develops, because I don't want to keep bringing Brady up, but when I was in San Francisco last week, and I passed by that kind of giant maintenance sort of room where Brady had stopped and started taking pictures of all the 49ers on the wall, it just kind of struck me that it was an unusual thing for Tom Brady to do. I know it was his childhood franchise and all these things, but right now, Tom Brady's options, what I think is going on in Tom Brady's mind is he has to figure out, do I want to go back to Tampa with some changes, or do I want to retire? And then after that, is there any other option that I'm really interested in? And the only other option I could think of that he would really be interested in is if Kyle Shanahan said, we're going to be without Purdy in 2023. I can tell you, people are not going to like to hear this, but I'm telling you, their confidence in Trey Lance is not high. And they're going to deny that, and they're going to say publicly that's just not true. I am just telling you, they have no idea if Purdy's out in 2023, if they have a viable quarterback in Trey Lance. And I think if Tom Brady was receptive, that would have to be a conversation that would be had in that franchise.
Well, all right, so we didn't talk about this on the show. None of us have together. Rand Carthon is the new general manager in Tennessee, We know Tannehill is 35 years old. And when Carthon was announced as GM, Trey Lance, I think, went on Instagram and had to cross fingers like, oh, please. And it was interpreted as, hey, come get me. Do you think something like that can happen? If not in Tennessee, could he be moved somewhere else? And is there are there other general managers who look at him and say, yeah, I had him rated highly. He's our guy.
Now, younger folks were telling me that older folks had this wrong, but that's actually a sign with younger folks, sort of like good luck. I don't know if that's true or not. That's not how I interpreted it. I interpreted it sort of like, hey,
good luck.
I didn't interpret it that way. But again, I'm 45, so I don't know.
We old, though.
The younger people, man, their emojis don't mean the same thing that the emojis mean to me. But that said, here's my question for Trey Lance, and I think this is the question everyone has to ask now. What is he worth? What could you trade him for? Not much. I talked to a couple GMs last week, okay, and I was like, and it was after, the Rand Carthon move and everything, and like, hey, if Purdy, let's say he takes him to a Super Bowl and he locks this job, what do you do with Trey Lance? And the response I got was like, what do you trade for him? You don't know if he's even a viable starting quarterback. We don't care what the draft capital was that they gave up. And I said, well, what about Sam Darnold? I said, what about what Darnold ultimately got when the Jets traded him to Carolina? They said, no, Darnold had started. You knew what he was. You kind of understood he can be a starter, not a good starter in the league, but you knew he could be. Nobody knows if Trey Lance can even be a starter.
That's interesting, though. That's interesting. But you know what's interesting about that? And I want to get to one more thing before we take a break and bring you back. I see it differently. I'm not a GM. Maybe that's why I'm here and they're there. But, like, isn't that the nature of the draft is the unknown makes them more attractive? Like, you don't know what they are. With Sam Darnold, some would say, yeah, we know what he is, which is not good, right?
Okay,
but somebody traded for it. Whereas with Trey, he's not that far removed from college.
Mike,
it's interesting how people could twist that how they want.
But it's not a total unknown. They have seen some of him, okay? They've seen some of the limitations.
Less of what they saw with Sam Darnold, which is why your Sam Darnold was a good comparison.
How many games did how many games did Sam Darnold play in the previous 3 years before Carolina acquired him? How much football did he play?
Oh, quite a bit.
A lot. Yeah. How much?
Yeah, but what did it look like? It was a lot of football. How'd that look? Let's put a grade on it. Like it's more football than Trey Lance, but probably the same grade.
All I'm saying, Charles, is if it's what you want to make it. Speaking of confirmation bias, if somebody didn't think highly of Trey Lance because he barely played in college and he came from a smaller school and they didn't really think he was that good to begin with, then they're going to be like, what is he? I'm not giving anything for him. But if you think that, wait a minute, this is a big, physical, athletic guy who's barely played, we don't know what he is, that unknown is oftentimes attractive, which is why people trade up in drafts for people. Because they're like, we're so intrigued by the possibilities.
If the Niners will take a third, okay, I could see there being interest. If they would take a third now, but you ask yourself, if you're the Niners, what's the upside then if we take a third? Like, we might as well keep them in house and see if the ceiling. I mean, is a third really worth giving up the ceiling? I mean, that's the problem. That's the quandary here right now. Is that I don't know that they'll get more than a third round pick. Yeah, maybe.
That's a damn nice suit, Rand. Maybe he was complimenting the suit, like that's
it.
But you're right.
That's a tight.
It's unanimous. That was all, hey, come get me. That wasn't come get me. That was good luck. All right, whatever y'all say. Charles,
we're taking a break. We're taking a break. We're taking a break, right?
We're taking a break.
So I just want to point out. Can I just point out to y'all, if Tom Brady goes to the Niners, he'll be 46 next year. You know what 46-year-old people do, whether they're playing football or not? They get hurt. Okay, so don't bring that BS here next year. Don't bring that. No, it's gonna happen. Don't bring that BS here.
46. San
Francisco loses next year in the playoffs, hey, we had a younger quarterback. Hey, if our quarterback don't get hurt, he's 46.
This is worse than the Nets.
He gonna get hurt.
Charles, this is worse than the Brooklyn Nets. Hurt. Bring me back to the days of the Brooklyn Nets and their big three, because this is worse.
I ain't gotta worry about it.
This is irrational.
If you block Hassan,
I ain't gotta worry about him.
If you block Hassan Reddick with Tyler Kroft, everybody's getting hurt. All right, ain't nobody surviving that. Okay, I'm just gonna say that. Don't
That
block
part.
the pass rusher with a tight end.
Ooh.
Yeah, that part.
Bill, you mean to tell me Bill Walsh Shanahan did that yesterday? He did that?
Bill Walsh Shanahan.
Wow.
Charles, as a Michigan State alum, you'll appreciate this. I got kind of carried away with, saying it was Joe Burrow's world when Patrick Mahomes is still living in it and still going to Super Bowls and whatnot. It's Magic and Bird. It's Magic and Bird. They're going to get the better of each other. They're going to take turns, running the AFC. Sorry, Josh Allen. So this was Patrick's time. This was Patrick's turn. Where do the Bengals, though, go from here? A lot of free agents. Lou Anarumo, their defensive coordinator, getting some love. We'll see if he gets a job. Will the Bengals be able to keep this band together? Because I know Mike will remember this. We talked to Carson Palmer at the Super Bowl last year. We may see him again this year. And, he got a lot of flack in Cincinnati for saying, will Mike Brown open up his pocketbook to keep the supporting cast? And not just the supporting cast in terms of the talent, but the infrastructure needed to sustain this success. We talked on this show about they're going to have to set a record and set a precedent probably for Joe Burrow's contract. Can the Bengals keep this together the way that the Chiefs and Andy Reid and their organization have?
Well, okay, so it kind of depends on how the contract comes in, right? So they're going to start the heavy lifting this offseason with a contract extension. And if it is a tack-on contract extension, it gives you the window's a little bit longer. It's not going to be great, but the money hits pretty quickly. And so it's just, now you have to start to figure out down the line, we've got 2 number 1 receivers. What are we going to do financially for these 2 guys? We have a running back in Joe Mixon. Where does he fit long term? I think first and foremost, look, you just retain as much talent as you possibly can, get the line where it needs to be for 2023, because I still think we're a year away from really, really having to worry about how bad this could get for them. And I'm worried about the Joe Burrow contract, absolutely, because I think when I look at both he and Jalen Hurts, those are going to be really difficult contracts to do this year for different reasons. I mean, Philadelphia, Hurts he's not 100% right now, but this is a guy who, if he leads them to a Super Bowl, I don't know how a contract extension, the contract extension talks this offseason don't start with a 5 in terms of APY. We're talking $50 million a year for Jalen Hurts. We're talking $50 million a year for Joe Burrow. I think it's easier for Philadelphia to do that kind of deal because they've done these massive quarterback deals in the past. The last one they didn't work out with Carson Wentz, but it was the right decision at the time. I think Howie Roseman, the general manager there, knows and is willing to commit to the right decision at the right time. We'll see how Hurts finishes this out, but I don't think there's a fear element there from Jeffrey Lurie, the owner. Then you look at Mike Brown, the Bengals. I don't know. I just don't know. He's already made comments about the Patrick Mahomes deal, which Mahomes did a favorable 10-year deal with Kansas City that, ultimately in the long run, he'll probably have left $100 million on the table, maybe more, over the length of that deal, $200 million, who knows? I don't know that Joe Burrow is going to be willing to do that kind of a deal, but we're going to learn something about both Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts, sort of like we learned something about Patrick Mahomes when he did that deal. Because when Mahomes did his deal, I was stunned. And I think a lot of agents were really disappointed because they thought this is a guy who he could do a cap percentage tie to his deal. He could be the guy who resets everything early. He could be the first $50 million guy, and he didn't do that. And Mahomes said the reason he didn't do it was because he wanted to be able to build a team out over the next 10 years around him. That's unique. I don't know that other guys necessarily want to do that, and I would never, ever tell a guy he should do that. I think you got to make the personal decision for yourself. And look, Hurts and Burrow, I'm just telling you that where they're positioned now, it's going to be huge money in it. And, it could be sticky like the Lamar Jackson situation in Baltimore.
All right. So I want to ask you this quickly, Charles. Michael has said that this is Magic and Bird between Burrow and Mahomes, which suggests that they go back and forth. I think Magic had 5 and Bird had 3 titles, and they used to just knock heads all the time in the 80s in the NBA Finals. Do you agree with that? Because I want to point out, if I gave you my top 3 quarterbacks, they're all in the AFC. Mahomes is on the list, Burrow's on the list, but so is Josh Allen.
Yep.
Have we too quickly moved on from maybe it's Bird, Magic, and one
Isaiah?
more player? And Isaiah. You know what I mean?
Shout out to Detroit.
One more.
Charles, come on, where you at, Charles?
Okay. So let me give you. Okay, I can play this game. I grew up in '80s, '90s basketball, so I can make this comparison. So I will give you Mahomes and Burrow, Bird and Magic. I will say Trevor Lawrence is Isaiah, and I will say that Josh Allen is Dominique Wilkins.
Ooh,
human highlight film.
Wait a minute,
I
love Nick. I love Nick, but wait a minute. But Nick never got to the conference. He never got to the conference.
But Trevor
finals.
Lawrence is going to be the one to put him out to pasture, is what you're saying. Trevor Lawrence is going to end this reign, is what you're saying. He's coming.
And
he's going to be the one.
And then you have Herbert, who's the other, is Herbert Reggie Miller?
Marcus Johnson.
Marcus Johnson. Okay, let's go on the back
Sidney
a little
Moncrief.
bit. Yeah.
The same era, right there. We're standing there.
Yeah, same era. Yeah, we're in there. But who's that's the thing is you have to you look at that era, and I think football has some comparisons. We saw it with Brady. There's a number of look, Phillip Rivers forever couldn't get a title, and it had to do with being in the same era as Peyton Manning. It had to, Tom Brady. So who amongst this group? So we're talking about Burrow, we're talking about Mahomes, we're talking about Herbert, we're talking about Trevor Lawrence, we're talking about Josh Allen. That's 5 already, 5 guys. And I'll bet you I'm leaving somebody out. I can't think of who it is, but I think I'm leaving somebody out already. Where you're like, there's just not enough titles to go around. Some people are going to have a hard, and this is where the organization comes in. That's what's scary about this is which organization can figure out how to be the conduit to winning titles. Because if you can't build a team around them, they can be, you do box score scouting, and they'll put up stats like crazy, and they'll finish their career like Phillip Rivers with insane numbers, but you'll go, where are the titles? It's going to happen to somebody.
Yo, man, thank you so much for posting up in New Orleans. Enjoy the city. Stop by Parkway Cafe. Or you can go anywhere if you want, but stop by Parkway, grab your poor boy, hit the road to Mobile. That used to be our old stomping grounds, Charles. I'm going to get back out on the road with you, dog, and hang out at the Senior Bowl.
I'm looking forward to
it. And the Combine. I mean, we grew up in those parts, man. So enjoy yourself. But thanks for spending some time with us. We always enjoy having you.
Thank you, Charles.
Michael Holley and I are going to fight when I see him at the Super Bowl over this Brock Purdy stuff. We're going to fight when I see you.
Yeah. Oh, you going to fight with him over Brock Purdy. I've been having to deal. Listen, I've been getting it worse than you.
Nothing to fight over now. Let's talk about the players who were playing in the game. I'm not talking about Brock Purdy or the Niners. Let's focus on the people who are there.
Oh, really?
Thank you, Charles.
Take it easy, guys.
Talking about it wouldn't have made a difference. Josh Johnson playing. Mike, we didn't get a chance to talk about, because I wasn't here toward the end of last week, the hiring of Frank Reich for the Carolina Panthers instead of Steve Wilks, which proves yet again that when it comes to black coaches in the NFL, deserves got nothing to do with it. Because I don't know how you define what Steve Wilks did in any other terms other than the incredible job that David Tepper said he would need to do to get the job. But I get it. David Tepper's infatuated with quarterbacks and getting a quarterback, and we live in a paradigm where we think that offensive coaches are the only people that can coach quarterbacks, as if the greatest quarterback of all time wasn't coached by a defensive coach.
Or acquire them. Yeah,
or acquire
how about acquiring? Right. Yeah. You'll think Steve Wilks, what do they have, the 9th pick in the draft? I think Steve Wilks can stand there in the draft room and say, hey, I see our scouting department has this player, C.J. Stroud, highly rated.
Yeah.
Let's take him.
He's there.
Okay, I like that. And I have a coach who knows how to coach him.
Get him a quarterback and see how he does with it. But meanwhile, DeMeco Ryans seems to be the favorite to go back to Houston, which drafted him in the 2nd round of 2006, the Mario Williams draft, I believe, and be their head coach. And that would bring the number of black coaches in the NFL back to 3. Meanwhile, for the first time we're going to have 2 black quarterbacks facing off in the Super Bowl. We've seen 2 black coaches, Tony Dungy, Lovie Smith, 2006 season, face off, but never 2 black quarterbacks, which I didn't realize it last night. I didn't think about it. And when I saw it today, I was like,
I didn't either.
Huh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And so while it's frustrating that there's so much progress that has been made on the quarterback front to where it doesn't even register that there are 2 black quarterbacks facing off for the first time. Meanwhile, I keep saying that word, we keep taking steps back, it seems. We're doing that Paul Abdul 2 steps forward, 2 steps back thing when it comes to black coaches, and maybe not even 2 steps forward. The quarterback progression does give me hope, Michael, that at some point, these owners will not only be more comfortable with black men as head coaches, but will stop viewing black coaches through such a narrow and narrow-minded prism. Because once upon a time, the idea of a black quarterback, I mean, you know, I don't have to tell you the history. Maybe we're just that far behind when it comes to coaches, and maybe we'll get to this point where it's like, oh, he's a black coach, I didn't know, maybe. So my point is, the black quarterbacks in the Super Bowl makes me hopeful that we'll see more often 2 black coaches in the Super Bowl. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, there was a day, ain't nobody's rhyming about this anymore. Like Public Enemy put this in a rhyme, like 87, 88. Hey, we got a black quarterback when it was Doug Williams. Nobody rhymes about it anymore because this is just what we expect. This is what I want to see from owners, Mike. I want to see owners just set up the goalpost and leave it there. Just set it up.
Yeah.
Don't move the goalpost. Yeah. Set it up so we know the target.
Let's keep this conversation going when we're in Arizona. I think it'll be a storyline.
I agree. Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.